now time to check out the many video games that are available to play at this year's EAG International. In this video, we'll be chatting about what was new at the Bandai Namco booth. So join me, Murray Curry and Johnny Newbed for an arcade gaming chinwag, if you like.
We were really surprised, and in the case of Cherry T, pleasantly surprised to see that there was not one, not two, but 3 Raving Rabbids machines, including the virtual reality one, which we talked about in the previous video. There was a big light gun game, and there was like a ticket redemption minigame collection. The 2 non-virtual reality ones were on Namco's booth. I guess we should talk about the light gun game first. It was called Rabbids Hollywood, and yeah, it was hard to miss, really. Yeah. The size of it. Like, it had a 120-inch screen. Practically looked like a cinema screen. It was like a 4-player light gun game with like plunger guns, wasn't it? So up to 4 players, or if you wanted to, 2 players, both dual wielding. Like we tried out a couple of times.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. In terms of gameplay, I mean, it's pretty standard fare for first-person rail shooter, but yeah, it was just fun. It was good. It looked visually appealing.
Yeah, it definitely had a Hollywood theme to it, because I've been on a movie set, this, that, and the other, and it's all over the top as you would expect for a Rabbids game.
Basically, it feels like an evolution of, in the original trilogy of minigame collections on the Wii, the Rayman Raving Rabbids games, there were like light gun games in them that were exactly the same kind of thing with like the plunger.
Right.
It's basically a new one of those. They really made a good use of the massive screen by just basically having a lot going on in every corner of the screen.
I remember the level of chaos going on.
Yeah.
You get to like the later stages as well.
Because in like the Wii games, you'd have like at the most maybe 5 Rabbids on the screen at a time coming from different corners. But in this, there were just like dozens and dozens of them. Yeah. There was like turkeys jumping around, and they're all flying in from all different angles, and almost like each player almost gets like a fourth of the screen to themselves in a way, because there's just so much going on. You definitely wouldn't be able to play it on your own, let's say that.
No,
like
definitely.
just one player, you would not be able to handle it, because there was just so much going on. I think one of my favourite things about it was just how much you can spam the plunges everywhere, because every time you shot them, they would stick to things. You could just spam them everywhere, and there would just be hundreds of plunges all scattered along the scenery, and there would be bits where the rabbit would like go into slow motion, and you could just shoot their face over and over, and then you just ended up with hundreds of plunges all glitching into each other, stuck across their face.
The light gun itself felt really nice. It had a nice weight to it.
Big
old plastic plunge.
Yeah, definitely.
I think I made a point that you could really hurt someone with it.
Remember when actually lifting up the plunger itself, it did actually make a noise. It's like...
We got footage of you like doing 2 of them, and I think we tried to get all 4 of them because it was making a louder noise if you got 2 out at the same time.
What happens if you get all 4 out at the same time? We're going to try and time all 4 of them coming out at the same time, see how loud it is. Right, 1, 2, 3. Nothing. Oh. Okay.
You kind of need to have at least 2 players for that. In 4-player, it was just awesome.
Even if you are on your own, I recommend dual wielding anyway, because that was just hilarious.
Yeah, you have to put in 2 credits. But
of course.
Yeah. They had 3 worlds to pick from. I think we just played through the Wild West one.
Yeah, that's right.
But they actually had 3 on there, and then it also had a 4th one that said coming soon. So this must be like a preview build. But we played through the Wild West one, and it was quite a lot of levels, wasn't there?
It was 3 stages, but they were really long.
They were quite
stages,
long, yeah. So it was actually quite a lengthy game, you know, if you're obviously putting in credits to keep playing like we were, because it was free. There's quite a lot of content on that machine.
We were hanging around for quite a while, and we only covered that one. So.
Yeah.
I can honestly see it being down on the seafront arcades, because it's
definitely,
so big.
I mean,
everyone's going to see it.
Yeah, the thing about that cabinet is, despite the humongous screen on it, it was actually quite thin. If you actually look around it, it doesn't take up that much floor space at all. It's actually a really thin but tall cabinet.
Yeah.
Flat panel screen. There's no CRT to worry about. So can you imagine how big that cabinet would have to be for it to have a CRT? Like back in the day, it would have to be.
It would take up the whole
as
arcade.
big as that Zombieland thing, probably.
Your right hand 1.
So there was also Rabbids Ticket Fiesta, and this one was like a minigame collection. It was a much smaller cabinet, up to 4 players again, and it had plunger controllers, but this time they were like motion control, almost like Wii Remote.
They were
giant plungers, like massive, heavy, again, hurt someone with those,
Really good,
if you really wanted. They only had one minigame on this build, because again it was a preview build, and I guess it's really early build, because apparently the final game's going to have 5 minigames in it, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I don't know what the other ones are. But yeah, the one they had there was like a TNT game where you basically had to hold the plunger on its side, and then you had to slam it down the closest to 0 seconds that you could.
Yeah, essentially a game of chicken.
yeah, basically.
It definitely did feel like a Wii game. Just lifting it up, putting the plunger at a certain angle, dropping it.
It even had like a calibration bit, didn't it? It was a bit like Motion Plus. It had like the whole thing where you have to hold it in position for so many seconds, so it's like calibrated.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing I liked about it is even though it was clearly a ticket redemption game, I mean, it's in the name.
Yeah.
But it didn't really feel like one. It didn't feel like you were doing it for the tickets. It was a 4-player competitive thing.
I see what you mean, actually, because we didn't even think to sit around and count the tickets. We were just trying to outdo each other.
Because at the end, when it shows who the winner is, basically the winner gets a pinata. You get to shake the plunger to smack the pinata and get more tickets. So it's basically a competition to see who can get the most tickets. But generally, if it's a bunch of friends and they're trying to gather tickets to get something, then they're just going to gather all them tickets together anyway. But then also, I think this isn't really going to be much fun in one player, especially this minigame in particular, because the computer's just going to be too good at it probably and get it at 0.01 seconds, and then you're not going to win as many tickets. So yeah, this is very strictly a 4-player thing. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the other minigames for this are, because so far it was a really cool machine.
Yeah, I want to see what more they can do with that kind of Wiimote style gameplay.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it being too physical, because if like 4 players all together,
because it's quite
something's going to give.
Because it's quite a small cabinet as well, so you're quite close to each other when you're playing it. So I suspect the games are not going to be too swingy about. They're going to be at the very most like tilting and all that kind of stuff. Because the Raving Rabbids have never been in arcades before. This is kind of a first. But I suppose because of Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle last year doing so well, that maybe they found a niche now to really push the Rabbids as an arcade thing. And it makes sense to me, because the Wii minigame collections were essentially little arcade games. The Rabbids just feel at home in the arcades, and I'm kind of looking forward to seeing more of this. So another nice surprise at the Namco booth was there was a major update to Space Invaders Frenzy. This was like a non-ticket redemption version, which was
a fun version.
Yeah, it was the version as far as I'm concerned.
Do you remember though, we played it last year and we were saying, God, this game's got, like, it's so good, it's got so much potential, but it's a ticket redemption game that ends in like 30 seconds. What a waste. We were coming away saying that. Yeah. It's almost like, I don't know, the machine had some kind of little microphone in there or something.
Or maybe Namco watched our video, I don't know.
Because we came back this year, we've almost disregarded it, didn't we?
Yeah, almost, it was like, oh, this is here again.
Yeah, we thought, oh, let's get on it, at least it was fun. And we were like, hang on a second, we've done about 4 stages.
Yeah.
And like, 20
it hasn't kicked us off.
I
presume this is just a different version of the machine, because it didn't mention tickets at any point.
No, there was no...
It was kind of like the world's largest Pac-Man now. It was just a straight up game now. This actually had like multiple stages, all with different enemy patterns and
different themes to
it. Yeah.
With the screen being so bright, it's all LEDs, all the colours are flashing you, your senses are just absolutely off the charts. It's just like colours everywhere.
It was beautiful.
The sheer size of the machine, the noise it makes, how great it feels with that feedback. Everything about that game is just like you said, it completely overstimulates you, which is what the arcade does. There's such a spectacle that you end up just emptying your pockets in sheer joy. Yeah, that's kind of the point.
Yeah, exactly.
And that game, it embodies that so perfectly. I'd love to see this start to roll out in arcades.
I think I've already seen a few frenzies about, but I'm not sure if they were the ticket version or this version, but this is the version to play, basically. This one actually lets you play it for longer than 30 seconds. If you're good at it, you could be on it for quite a while. You could be on it for about 5 minutes, if you know what you're doing. You do have multiple lives. They do give you plenty of different weapons to actually wipe out the screen quite quickly. And some of the levels had some really interesting patterns and different timing to the way the aliens would come down. It felt a lot like some of the games they put out on Xbox Live, like Space Invaders Extreme Extreme and Infinity Gene and all those really cool spins on Space Invaders they've done in the past. Unlike last year, we can actually say they've met the potential this time.
Like never before has that machine been something I've desired if I ever won the lottery to have in my house.
Yep, definitely. Just get one of those, and I wonder if you could hack other games onto it as well. That would be good. Like the Pac-Man one, get that and just put Mappy on it or something.
Yeah,
that would be for me. Apparently you can put any advert video onto this that you want as well. They showed a couple sample adverts on it and they were way too bright. Like you'd go past it, it'd be like...
Do you remember that explosion animation? It just looked like something from Dragon Ball. Do you remember that?
What wrestlers?
Still an amazing cabinet, and now they've fully reached the potential of that game. I think they actually made it fun.
Oh yeah.
So also on the Namco booth by Raw Thrills was a genre we don't often see in arcades at all anymore. It was actually a scrolling beat 'em up. It was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's based on the current Nickelodeon cartoon, but it was clearly trying to evoke the old Konami Ninja Turtle games, like in every single way. The move sets were almost identical. You had that thing where you could grab the enemies and throw them towards the screen. You had the same throw where you sort of smack them back and forth. And there was even that bit from Turtles in Time where Krang comes smashing through the wall and starts shooting lasers at you. They were trying to evoke that era, like, big time with this game. I mean, I say they were trying, but...
Yeah, there's trying and there's just completely messing your childhood.
Yeah, I don't know, I wouldn't go that far, but...
It ruined my childhood.
You know what it reminded me of? You know when they made that remake of Turtles in Time on Xbox Live, the 3D
Reshelled.
remake? Yeah, reshelled. It reminded me a lot of that. One thing I will mention that was different from the old games was they had like a special attack thing where you'd like charge up a bar and then you could just like set off this move that would basically wipe all the enemies off the screen. And some of that was kind of cool. It had some pretty good animations. There was that one where you just like throw pizza everywhere. It was like, there's a bit of a waste of pizza, but okay. The graphics were kind of underwhelming. It just didn't really like pop that much. It had a really nice, colourful, massive cabinet with a huge screen and really colourful buttons and all that. But the actual game didn't look amazing. It played all right. It played fine. You know, it was a bit mediocre. It's Raw Thrills.
Yeah, I mean, I had a quick go. I wasn't overwhelmed, but I wasn't exactly like completely disgusted.
No, it was
kind of middle of the road.
mildly enjoyable. Yeah. You know, it was a bit cheap in places. Some of the enemies had really annoying attacks that would electrocute you. And I think one of the biggest problems I found with it is the load times. Well, the fact that it even had load times.
Yeah.
When have you ever seen an arcade game with loading times?
I can honestly say I never have.
Yeah, because arcade machines, they tend to load everything in when you boot them up in the morning. They're not supposed to load while you're playing them. But you know what? Despite not being very good, I'm kind of glad they're making this anyway, because if this machine does well, you know, it might. It's Ninja Turtles, kids still love that.
Yeah.
It's still a big deal. It might encourage more scrolling beat-em-ups, because how often do you see them anymore? In fact, I looked it up. The last time like a major scrolling beat-em-up came out was Asian Dynamite by Sega in 2007. There hadn't been any for years before that either. Wow. That was barely around. I saw that in London once. That was it. But this has the potential to at least have exposure because it's a Raw Thrills game. It might do alright, and I kind of hope it does anyway, because I just kind of want to see more of these old genres come back. Maybe if Sega wants to do a new Golden Axe, that would be cool.
That would be nice. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, Sega.
Yeah, like you say, it's a good start.
Even if it's not the best execution, I'm glad someone's at least trying. Unlike this other game Raw Thrills had there. Injustice Arcade. I played this for a couple minutes and oh my god, this is probably one of the worst things I saw. Injustice is essentially Mortal Kombat with DC Comics characters. They've been on consoles, they're really popular.
Yep.
So what do you think the arcade game is going to be? It would be a port of the console game, right?
Oh, it's going to be well good, isn't it?
Console port, yeah? Arcade stick,
of...
proper fighting game. Nope, it's a port of the spin-off mobile game. Just look at the control scheme. It doesn't make any bloody sense. It's just like a bunch of random giant smacky buttons for like special and jump and block. And the main gimmick of it is you have to buy cards to select your characters. Otherwise, if you don't buy trading cards for it, you just get random characters. So you don't even get to pick your characters unless you pay for cards to then pay to play the arcade machine just to pick the character you want to be.
Cheers, Raw Thrills. That's a great idea.
And yeah, you can just see from the footage, it just looks embarrassing.
What I love is how there's no arrows. There's not even that little bit of strategy of moving away or towards your enemy. They just run right into each other's faces.
Yeah, they just stand right in close. It's like a boxing match almost, because there's no controls to move them. There's no stick, there's no D-pads, nothing. Just a couple random big buttons.
I thought this would be a good idea.
Raw Thrills, apparently.
So that was what Namco had to offer this year. In the next video, we'll conclude our EAG coverage by checking out Sega's booth as well as a rather cool Atari product. See you then!